Muthuswamy Dikshitar's compositions are an eclectic mix of Sangeeta, Sahitya and Vedanta. Throughout his life, Dikshitar travelled extensively, visiting several Kshetras. Dikshita Kshetra Darshanam is an attempt to visit some of these Kshetras and get a glimpse into the myriad facets of Dikshitar's compositions.
Mannargudi, a very prominent Sri Vaishnavite shrine near Thiruvarur, houses the temple for Krishna as Sri Rajagopala Swamy. Visited by the Sri Vaishnavite Acharyas, this Kshetra is revered as an Abhimana Kshetram. Expanded under the imperial Chola rule, especially between the 12th and 13th century under the rule of Kulothunga II, the temple is very popular for its massive mandapas, lofty Rajagopuram, and the grand temple tank. The temple spans around 6 square acres of plot area. During various times, the temple was expanded with 7 prakaras, 5 inside the temple and 2 outside it. There are 10 sacred water bodies or tirthams associated with this temple. A total of 16 gopurams mark the skyline of this beautiful ancient town. In total, there are 24 sannidhis installed for various deities within the temple.
The Muthuswamy Dikshitar Kriti on Mannargudi Kshetra is Sri Rajagopala Bala, set to the raga Saveri and Aditala.
Shri Raja Gopala Bala Shingara Leela Shida Jana Pala
Muthuswamy Dikshitar's Darshanam of Mannargudi Kshetram. Raja Mannargudi, that's the name of the town. The presiding deity is Rajagopala Swamy. Everything is so grand and very royal about the place.
Much like the opening of the composition itself in Saveri Raga and Aditala.
Very grand opening.
Straight on the Tarasthai Shajja.
Presiding deity, the Moola Murti here is Vasudeva Perumal as Vaikuntapati. And the Utsava Murti is Rajagopala Swamy, the Raja Mannar that he is. The little cowherd form of Krishna, the little boy that he was, holding on to the whip with which he raised the cows, and his left hand, in a very beautiful and an interesting fashion, he leans on the cow. Accompanied by Rukmini and Satyabhama around him, Rajagopala Swamy gives a grand darshan here. Muthuswamy Dikshitar, a long-term resident of Thiruvarur, born and raised there, should have probably visited the shrine multiple times, fallen in love with the Kshetram, the temple, and the Murti also, and had composed this beautiful song.
In fact, Muthuswamy Dikshitar was born at Thiruvarur and lived there for a long time. And along with Muthuswamy Dikshitar, the 2 other members of the Mummurtis whom we celebrate in Indian classical music, Tyagaraja Swamy and Shama Shastri, were also born at Thiruvarur. And incidentally, this raga, Saveri, in which Sri Rajagopala Bala is set in, is composed in Saveri, which is one among the 28 ragas which have been handled by Tyagaraja Swamy, Muthuswamy Dikshitar, as well as Shama Shastri.
All the 3.
All the 3 have handled Saveri raga. It is a Bhashanga Janya raga of the 15th Raganga raga, Malavagauda or Maya Malavagauda. And can you guess how many Janya ragas of Malavagauda might have been listed in the Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini?
10 or 15 maybe.
Double that. There are 30 Janya ragas of Malavagauda that are listed in the Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, and Dikshitar is composed in nearly all of them. Subbarama Dikshitar says in his Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini that the Gandhara and Nishada Swaras, Ga and Ni, are supposed to be rendered as Sadharana Gandhara and Kaishiki Nishada. not Gatri and Nitri, that is Antara Gandhara and Kakali Nishada as is present in Madhavagola, but at lesser positions, Sadharana Gandhara and Kaishi Nishada. Even today, it is a general practice for us to render the Gandhara and Nishada at slightly lower values than the Antara Gandhara and Kakali Nishadas for us. In all these phrases, we find that the Gandhara Nishada Swaras are rendered at values lower than that of Antara Gandhara and Kakali Nishada.
I think Dikshitar requests Rajagopala to protect him. And the composition expands from here to list out the various Shringara Leelai, the beautiful Leelas of Krishna, and the people who were protected by him, the rishis, the sages, all of them.
What are those Shringara Leelas? I think they are listed more in detail in the Anupallavi.
Anupallavi and of course partly in the Charanam.
The opening itself is a veritable lesson in Saveri and as a treatise on how to begin a raga.
Shri Raja Gopala Bala Shri Raja Gopala Bala Sundara Leela Shridhana Pala Shri Raja Gopala Bala Sundara Leela Shridhana Pala Shri
Though the town is called as Mannargudi or Rajamannargudi today, in the Puranas it is referred to as Dakshina Dwarakai, Champakaranya Kshetram, Vasudevapuram, and many such different names. Vasudevapuram probably goes by the name of the presiding deity, Vasudeva Perumal. Champakaranyam because this place was once upon a time a forest full of champaka trees, Champaka Aranyam. Dakshina Dwarakai, that is the most significant name in fact, which when elaborated paints the complete Sthala Purana for you. Dikshitar generally packages the Sthala Purana somewhere in the composition. I think in this composition it is happening in the Anupallavi.
Absolutely. In the Pallavi, Dikshitar establishes the names of the deities.
Yeah.
And in the Anupallavi, I think he focuses
Rajagopala and all that. And in the Anupallavi, he brings in the name of the Sthalam. In the Dakshina Bharatadesam, in the Dwapara Yuga, that was when Krishna was active, there were two Maharishis called as Gopilar and Gopralayar. Moved by the Avatara Visesham of Krishna, they went on a pilgrimage to Dwaraka to have a darshan of Krishna. But when they were crossing the Vindhyachala forests, Narada Bhagavan approached them and informed them that Krishna Avataram was just over and Krishna has already gone back to the Vaikunta Lokam. Not able to stand this, the Maharishis fainted. Narada helped them regain and informed them that there is a way, a solution to this, and suggested that they go back to the Kaveri Desham, to Dakshina Bharatam, and in the Champakaranyam perform a penance, a tapas to please Vasudeva, and promise that what they want will be granted. So the Maharishis came down to Champakaranyam and performed a penance, propitiating Vasudeva. And when the penance was answered, they had the darshan of Sriman Narayana as Vasudeva, as Vaikuntapati. So that becomes the first Leelai that he performed. And the Maharishis requested him to reenact all the episodes of the Krishna Avatara. So starting from Krishna Jananam, one after the other, Putana Samharam, in fact, traveling from Mathura to Gokulam, then Putana Samharam, each of the Samharams that he did, Kalinganardanam, Navanita Natyam, the Gopastri, Vastrapaharanam, and Kurukshetra Yuddham, Geetopadesham, all of it, one by one, were performed. And the 32nd Leela was, of course, the most simplest form to approach of Sriman Narayana, which is Krishna as the cowherd, the Rajagopala that he was. So, between Vasudeva and Rajagopala, the 32 episodes of Krishna Avatara were reenacted for the two rishis here, and hence this becomes Dakshina Dwarakai. Probably this is the boon that they would have got if they had managed to go to Dwarakai. Still, this place was good enough for them to fetch the same benefits, and hence this becomes the Dwarakai of South.
So they got to witness 32
Leelas. Krishna.
And interestingly, the number 32 is also associated with Aditalam. And of course, this composition is in Aditalam, as we already mentioned. And it starts, the Anupallavi starts on the Samam and elaborates around the Daivata region, the Da, with the Swaraksharam as well, as is wont of Muthuswami Dikshitar, to cajole Swaraksharas in multiple points of the compositions.
Dhiragraganya Dina Sharanya Charu Champakaranya Dakshina Dwaraka Nilaya Vishishta Dvaita Dvaitalaya Mam Palaya Shri.
So I observed the references that you mentioned, Dakshina Dwaraka Puri, and then there's a reference to Vishishta Dvaita Dvaitalaya.
In the Anupallavi, Dikshitar also sings about the qualities of Krishna. Dhiragraganya. He is a dhira, a wise, clever person, and a valorous one also.
And the foremost.
And the foremost God. And he is also the one who gives shelter to people who seek him. Dina Sharanya. The best part is, he is prayed to and celebrated by various different philosophies. All the popular Vedantic schools, Visishtadvaita, propagated by Ramanujacharya, and Advaita, of course, of Shankara's fame.
It is the abode of both those.
All the philosophies.
And it is also the abode for an enlightening Saveri. Because the Anupallavi gives us a peek into how Saveri is handled around the Daivata region.
Dhiragraganya Dina Sharanya Dhiragraganya Dina Sharanya Charu Champakaranya Dakshina Dwaraka Puri Nilaya Vishishta Dvaita Dvaitalaya Mapalaya Shri.
The Pallavi of this composition, we saw, began from the Tarasthai Shajja. The Anupallavi was from the Daivata. In the Charanam, Dikshitar launches into an expansive treatment of Saveri. He begins from the Madhyasthai Shajja and covers the entire gamut of this raga. Interestingly, as per even the notation given in the Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, we do not find sancharas in this composition below the Madhyasthai Shajja. So we don't find any Mandrasthai phrases in this composition. Also, the Charanam begins from after the beat. Araidam Talli, Takka. Whereas the Samathal Illama. Whereas the Pallavi and Anupallavi begins from the Samam.
Smerana Sevaka Chaturana Narayana Taraka दिव्य नाम पारायण कृत नारदादीनूत सारस पाद सदमोद स्मरण.
Of all those captivating things of Rajagopala Swamy, for his devotees especially when they come here, it's that little smile on his face, a grin probably. Smeranana. He was very boisterous and a very prankster kind of a kid, so that little smile has layers of meaning in it. People just fall for it. So I think Dikshitar also, as you said, the Charanam's grand composition, I think he has picked up the most significant aspect of the Divyamangala Vigraham of Rajagopala Swamy and starts the Charanam with that smile. And of course, Chaturanana or the four-faced Brahma has always served Krishna. There are episodes in Bhagavata which describes how Brahma came rushed down to Ayarpadi or Gokulam to have a darshan of Krishna. And of course, the tradition of Nama Sankirtanam, where the rishis, starting from Narada, and of course, as an extension, all his devotees chant the various different names of Krishna. Narayana is the most sought after name. By chanting the name, the devotees offer themselves. When they call out Narayana, the next immediate thing that they do is to fall in front of him, hold on to his feet, which is generally described as the lotus feet, the Sarasa Padha. And I think starting from the Vedas, all the sacred texts compares the feet of the Almighty with the lotus flower. So Sarasa Padha. And Krishna is Sadha Moda. He is in a state of ultimate bliss. And it is not just him, but people who get in touch with him, his devotees, people who seek refuge in him, also attain the same state of bliss.
It is a blissful Saveri as well. Because
Yes.
it starts from, and there are Swaraksharas galore. Smera, Sa, Ri, then Sarasa Pada, Sa, Saras, Pada. Swaraksharas are, of course, Sada Moda with Sa and Da. You find Saveri and we will be in a
State of
bliss. And the Charanam continues. Nari Veshadhar Vama Bhaga Murare Shri Vidya Raja Hare Shri Rukmini Satya Bhama Shruta Parshvayugala Kambujayagala Nari Veshadhara. It's an interesting phrase, right? Nari
Veshadhara. I think it can be interpreted in two ways. Nari Veshadhara, the one who dresses himself up like a woman, a Nari. The traditional account here says that when Krishna had come down to Mannargudi, along with 16,108 Gopastris of Gokulam, and he performed a Jalakridai in the Haridra Nadi, the temple tank. After the Jalakridai was over, he just set up a competition on the spot. He said, whoever gets out of the tank first and gets dressed up, they are the winner. And as it is known, for Krishna, the kind of prankster he is, he jumped out of the water, climbed up, and immediately picked jewelry and dress of various Gopastris and dressed himself up. So he was wearing a skirt, a sari, and the woman jewelry and all that on him. So probably it's that Nari Veshadharam, that's one part. But interestingly, the second phrase there, the continuing phrase there, talks about the Vamabhagam. We all know the form of Ardhanarishwara, of Parameshwara, where he carries or has Uma as a part of his divine physique on his left half, the Vama Bhagam. Traditional Srividya Upasakas are aware of a form of Devi, where again this Vama Bhagam comes in, but for a difference it is not Shiva but Sriman Narayana or Krishna, to be more specific. Krishna carries the divine physique of Mahalakshmi, or in some versions it's even identified as Radha, on his left half. And this form is called as Sammohana Krishna. He is six-armed, plays a flute, holds on to the Shankha and Chakra, and also carries the Ikshudhandam or the sugarcane bow and a Pushpabhanam. So this six-armed form is again one of those very rare icons worshipped in the Srividya tradition. Dikshitar himself, being one of the greatest upasakas of his time, probably identifies that form here as the Nari Vamabhagam and the Veshadharam that comes in. Second line, of course, is about the Srividya Tattva. Though Dikshitar identifies this Murti as Sammohana Krishna, probably, the temple traditions take a precedence when it comes to these kind of interpretations. The temple follows Pancharatra Agama, a Sri Vaishnavite Agama, and here the name of Utsava Vigraham, Rajagopala Swamy, Utsava Murti, officially is known as Srividya Rajagopalan. So what is this Srividya here? Is it the Devi Upasana that Dikshitar was carrying? Not necessarily. In the Sri Vaishnavite tradition again, Krishna Avataram of all the Avataram has something very special about it. If anybody can understand the Avatara Rahasyam of Krishna, he or she attains moksha. And as we know, the temple tradition, we just discussed it in the Anupallavi section, the two rishis who performed a tapas here to visually enjoy the 32 leelas that Krishna performed during his Avatara Kalam. If one can understand the interpretation or the tattvas, the philosophical meaning behind each of the leela that Krishna performed, that by itself is a superior intellect, the Sri Vidyai. And of course, in all the leelas, Rukmini and Satyabhama play a role together. He is always seen along with them. Yeah, so Rukmini, Satyabhama, Sametam. So that also comes in.
In fact, we are here in Mannargudi, and the other composition, as I mentioned earlier, that Dikshitar is supposed to have composed on Mannargudi Kshetra, also begins with the word Srividya Rajagopala. It is in the raga, relatively rare raga, the 38th Raganga raga called Jagan Mohanam. And the Kriti begins with the words Srividya Rajagopalam Bhajeham. This composition on Mannargudi, Sri Rajagopala, begins from the Tarasthai Shajja. And the Jagan Mohanam Kriti on Mannargudi, Srividya Rajagopalam Bhajeham, also begins from the Tarasthai Shajja.
Nirasam Purna Haridra Nadi Tira Mahotsava Vaibhava Madhava Mara Janaka Nata Shuka Sanaka Janaka Vira Guruguhaamrta Rama Sahita Shri Rajagopala.
Haridra Nadi, that's the name of the temple tank. Though it's a tank, it's called a Nadi probably because of its size. It's just huge. We get to know that it is around 8 valleys that comes to several tens of acres, and it is filled with water all through the year. So Dikshitar just declares that for a fact and says, Neera Sampurna. It is always filled with water. And the name Haridra Nadi, Haridra means turmeric. What has a river got to do with turmeric? Well, here in Dakshina Dwaraka, which is Mannargudi, Krishna reenacted the Gopa Leelas that he performed on the banks of Yamuna river in Gokula. So he used to come along with the Gopastris and take a dip, and the women there used to take a bath after applying turmeric paste. So when that was reenacted here, all the turmeric granules got accumulated in this tank, and hence Haridra Nadi. Haridra meaning turmeric, of course. And on the banks of this river, you have the festivals of the temple that are celebrated. The float festival or the Teppa Utsavam happens in the month of Ani, and the main festival, the annual festival, Brahmotsavam, happens in the month of Panguni. That is mid-March to mid-April. It is a grand and a lengthy festival, in fact. The main festival goes on to 18 days,
And as an extension, you have another 12 days of Vidayati. That's roughly 30 days. Every month there is some festival. And so Dikshitar celebrates the festival in his composition and says, Mahotsava Vaibhava. So the tank...
Grandeur. Vaibhava, the
Yeah,
grandeur.
the grandeur. Each festival is also, each day of the Utsavam is also very grand. And so the tank and the festivities, all of it has been covered. Then Dikshitar goes on to describe the specialities of Krishna. So Krishna here is Madhava, the one who is always along with Madhavi or Mahalakshmi, from whom Mara or Manmata was born. Mahavishnu is the father of Manmata. But just because he is the father of Manmata, it does not mean he is only prayed to by people who are desirous or people who have wants. He is also meditated upon by great rishis, Maharishis, like Shuka, Saunaka, and even Janaka. So all of them, Shuka, Saunaka, Janaka. So he is being prayed to by all the Maharishis also. And he is celebrated by Veera Guruguha, the most brave Subramanya. And he is also Rama Sahita, the one who is always along with Rama.
So we find
again
the
Mahalakshmi.
Guruguha Mudra, the Muthuswami Dikshitar Mudra.
Yeah, that comes
In the
here. The
Guruguha.
Vagyakara Mudra comes there, Veera Guruguha. And he is accompanied by Rama. So the
That
Madhyamakala
phrase-
Sahityam starts with Mahalakshmi's Sambandham with Krishna and also ends with that. So Madhava and Rama Sahita.
Rama Sahita, that phrase is a veritable lesson for students of music wanting to learn how to sing Kalpanaswarams, for example. Rama Sahita Shri Sari Ma Pada Shri. Interestingly, this composition also has a swara passage, or what we call in today's parlance as Chitta Swarams. Re sa ni da pa da ni da pa ma ga ri sa ri ga ri sa ni da sa ri ma pa da ni da sa ni da ri sa ri ma ga ri sa ni da pa da ga ri sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa ri ma pa da shri. The elongated Nishad Madhyama Swaras captures the grandeur of Saveri. You know, I always wonder, this is a Kshetra Kriti, and we've been trying to unravel the different facets of it throughout the day. But if one were to look at it, within this Kshetra Kriti of Madhuswami Dikshitar, Dikshitar embeds several Kshetras or worlds inside the world of the Sthala Puranam, the Kshetra Mahima, the festivities,
The Tirtham.
the Tirtham,
And the musical component also.
and the musical grandeur. So within one Kshetra Kriti, Dikshitar gives us a darshanam into the various Kshetras embedded inside. It is a darshanam into the several Kshetras within this Kshetra Kriti.
Brilliant.
स्मेरन सेवक चतुरन स्मेरन सेवक चतुरन नारायण तारक दिव्य नाम पारायण कृत नारदादीनूत सारस पद सद मोद नारी वेशधर वाम भग मूर रे श्री श्रीविद्याराज हरे श्रीरुक्मिणी सत्यभामाश्रितपार्श्वयुगल अम्बुजयगल तीरसम्पूर्ण हरिद्रानदीतीरमहोत्सव वैभव माधव मारजनक नत शुक सरक जनक वीरगुरुह महित प्रमसहित रीसनिद पद निद पामगरि सरि गरि सानिद सरि म पद निद रीसनिद पद निद पामगरि सरि गरि सानिद सरि म पद निद सनिद री सरि म गरि सनिद पद गरि सनिद पमगरि सरि म पद शीरा